Hey guys, this is Mike with DCE. Today we have an R1T truck behind me, and we're going to show you how to install our new rock slider steps. Before we install our steps, we want to go over a little bit about the design and construction. The base structure is made of 120,000 steel. It's very strong. This is the part of the step that slides on a rock. You can see on the bottom of the step over here, the bottom of the tube, the square, and this inner bracket are all what's going to take that abuse on trail. We get to the treads over here. These are aluminum. They're much lighter weight. And these are both coated in a high friction powder coating to never rust, to never fatigue, and to always have traction, wet or dry. These are held onto the step with black stainless hardware. If there is any snow or mud that's thicker on this step that doesn't allow for traction, these bolt heads give a little bit more bite to a boot in those conditions. Our rock sliders bolt directly to the Rivian frame rail. There's a line of bolts along this flange here and a line of bolts here. One of the unique things that we did is we allowed one person in their driveway to do the installation. So you loosen and back out some factory bolts in a couple locations, slide the step in, install the rear bolts, and then torque everything in. One guy can do it in his driveway in about an hour. Included in the kit is the steps themselves, the rock sliders, a couple bolts and hardware, and a T55 Plus socket. The factory Rivian bolts that we're going to be reusing are this proprietary style socket. It's kind of difficult for some people to find, so this is included in the kit, and you can just throw it in the glove box if you ever need it. As some of you are aware, the factory jack point in the Rivian is pretty proprietary. Normally you have to open up a little plastic cover and insert a specialized tool. It's not that strong. We've actually since seen some deflection on the rear sheet metal when using that factory tool. So what our rock sliders and steps do, because they're tying into so many locations on the frame, this is now the ideal jacking point. So there's big pads. You can use a conventional jack in the rear, middle, or front of the vehicle to lift it and change a tire. These rock sliders are about 6 months in the making. There's been a lot of engineering. We 3D scanned the entire bottom of the truck. There's been about 4 or 5 different iterations to get to what you see now. The construction is a completely sealed style construction, meaning nothing can get in or outside of this tube. It's very important when there's water and things that can get inside of the tube. All of a sudden you come out to your driveway and there could be rust and things dripping on your driveway. So we went to a completely sealed style step. So the first thing you want to do before the installation is go into your drive mode and put it in off-road mode and get the truck or SUV as high as possible. Today we're going to show you the installation on the passenger side. Once you complete that, you can mirror that over to the driver's side. The tools required for installation are a 10, 15, and 17 millimeter socket, a T20 and T30 Torx bit, flathead screwdrivers, and a pick. We recommend using an impact gun, but a breaker bar will do as well.
So to begin the installation, we're going to start by removing these panels. The best place to start is you start at the forwardmost panel, then you go to the rearmost panel, and then you end with the middle panel. So to begin taking off the forward panel, there are 2 10 millimeter bolts and 2 T20 screws at the front. So right now we're going to remove the 2 10 millimeter bolts. Next, you're going to grab in this section here, and you're going to pull these little tongues out of their little secured spots. This is going to allow it to dangle free, and now you'll be able to see the clips up on the inside. You can use a flathead or you can use a pick. In this case, we're going to use a pick, and we're going to pick the one side. So there, I popped that loose, and then now you can turn the pick around and you can pick the back side while pulling down. Continuing with the panel in the rear, we have 1 10 millimeter bolt. Now repeat the process that you did with the front by pulling the tabs out of the side here, allowing the panel to come down and expose the clips. The easiest place to start is the forwardmost clip, and work your way back one clip at a time and pulling it down and allowing yourself more room for the next clip. We're going to start by removing the clips towards the inner part of the vehicle, just like the other ones. And you're going to pull the panel towards the outside of the vehicle and then pop these clips down. Now that we've removed the covers, there is a black rail that supports all the clips. We're going to remove that, and that requires a T30. Next, we're going to take the supplied Torx Plus 55 bit and remove both Torx bolts at these black brackets. Now we're going to take these two front Torx bolts that are all the way at the front and completely remove them. We're going to loosen the remaining Torx bolts all the way to the back so they have a 1/2 inch clearance between the frame and the underside of the bolt head. Starting from the front, you're going to leave the first hex bolt and the 7th hex bolt installed, and you're going to remove all hex bolts from the front all the way to the back. So we're going to use the supplied M10 bolts with supplied washers and install them in this rail in these two open spots. Today we're going to use a partner to install the step, but you can do it by yourself. With these bolts 1/2 inch down from the face, you can slide the step in and it'll hold itself. Next, we're going to reuse the factory bolts on the inner part of the frame. Next, we're going to tighten and snug up these outer row of bolts that are through these through holes. Then we're going to snug up the inner row of bolts. And then we're going to go back and torque the outer row and torque the inner row. After installing the outer rail bolts and the inner rail bolts and snugging them down, you can remove the 7th bolt from the front that's between the two brackets completely. That allows you to be able to install this bracket that goes in between the two sides. Reinstall the factory bolt. These will also be torqued to the spec indicated in the sheet. And that's how you install the rock sliders for the Rivian R1T and R1S.